Call this meeting to order with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Okay, you just never know.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Mrs. Edelson?
Here.
Mr. Drigo?
Here.
Mrs. Votak?
Here.
Mr. Henderson?
Here.
There he is.
All right, let's move to approval of minutes.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Drigo?
Yes.
Mrs. Edelson?
Yes.
Mrs. Votak?
Yes.
Mr. Henderson?
Yes. Treasurer's reports.
Okay. For the month, we have the financial recap. Donations received, $1,000 from Marie Evans Agency for Down on Main Scholarship, $100 anonymous for cafeteria balances, $320 from LASA for class of 2025. Financial items to approve, Shakely Uniservice as MCO and TPA for workers' comp and unemployment for fiscal year 25 in the amount of $531. Transfers from the general fund to cafeteria fund, $50,000, and athletic fund, $55,000. And adjusted appropriations for fiscal year 24 as listed.
May I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Discussion.
Jen, you just said you transferred 55 from the into the athletic fund.
I will,
You will.
upon approval.
And so this current balance of 11,900, how does that?
That's just through the end of March.
That's just 1 month.
Well, it's the current balance at the end of March. So
So
when
why
we
you-
ended March, we were 11,000 in
Okay.
the hole.
So
Since that time, we've accumulated more debt for
another.
April.
So that's why you're getting that.
That's
55.
why I'm,
Okay.
yes.
All right.
So I tried to transfer enough to cover us till the
Okay.
end of the year, but I have a feeling I'm still gonna need to transfer a little bit more,
Okay.
depending on where the transportation costs come in. So
Okay.
that's the reason why there's the discrepancy between the 11,000 and the
Okay.
55.
All right. Thank you.
Any other comments? Roll call.
Mr. Duca?
Yes.
Mrs. Adelson?
Yes.
Mrs. Votak?
Yes.
Mr. Henderson?
Yes. All right. Is this part of public participation or superintendent's report?
Superintendent's report, please.
All right, let's move on to the superintendent's report.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. Happy Wednesday, April 24th. It's hard for our live stream audience to see, but we've changed room 204 with career exploration units. And this evening I have Mr. Jack Scott here representing today, I guess I would say, the Columbia County Career and Technical Center and the Career Exploration mobile unit that we have. If you came in the front, you'll notice a 24, 26-foot trailer, 28-foot trailer, and it had all the units that are in this room tonight in there. And the idea is that that unit will be going to other districts throughout Columbia County. So we're fortunate. Leetonia Schools is the first to have this brand new trailer and the units that Mr. Scott will be talking about. I'd ask if Mr. Scott asked if he could go over some of these and present it to the board. And I think Mr. Clapsaw, if you can, whatever you can get with your camera, that would be great as well. So without further ado, Mr. Scott, if you'd like to share with us what you have here.
Well, thanks for the opportunity. Just a quick introduction of myself. I grew up in the Youngstown area. I graduated from Woodrow Wilson High School. I went to Youngstown State undergraduate with a degree in mechanical engineering and had a fabulous career that I'll just give some highlights of. Which I always like to say when I have a chance to talk is that, we don't have to make apologies for coming from Youngstown State or from coming from Youngstown, because in my career, after I graduated from Youngstown, courtesy of the Army, I got sent to graduate school at Texas A&M, and I got a master's degree in industrial engineering. It's been 14 years with the Army where I became pretty much an expert in how to get rid of weapons of mass destruction. Subsequent to that, I have 7 patents on how to do that. Almost every chemical weapon in the world has been destroyed by some version of one of my patents, including a lot of it. I spent 14 years in the Army, and then I left to go to Parsons Corporation. and spent 26 years in Southern California. Parsons Corporation has about 17,000 engineers and scientists from MIT, from all the major universities. I worked my way up through the system. When I retired as president of the corporation, $5 billion a year in revenue, and I ran the corporation.
Nice.
And I've traveled all over the world. Almost no place I haven't been. But I came back to Youngstown because I wanted to make a contribution. We all come back to our roots sooner or later in a contribution. So I started a not-for-profit of Advanced Methods Innovation, and that's who built these kits. We have a significant makerspace in downtown. We have these same carts in that a separate one that we got funded by the county commissioners, and we're waiting for an art grant to put more money into it. But to have an opportunity for kids to come downtown Youngstown, and we're going to have a lot of programs down there too, and carts that'll go into the schools in Mahoning County and Trumbull County like these. But these carts were the vision of, and I'll just say we built maker spaces, which we typically have laser cutters, 3D printers, and those kind of things, CNC machines in our space downtown. And we typically build maker spaces. We probably built more than anybody period. We built lots of them. We built 7 in trailers for the Marines. We built them in colleges in California. We built one in Compton, LA, that was paid for by Dr. Dre, and right across the street from his sound studio. So, but they're typically a trailer that has this type of equipment in it. Well, that wasn't the vision of Jeremy and John Dilling. They wanted something where the kids could get exposed to the type of careers that are available that typically don't require a 4-year college degree. Because if you think about it, about half the kids who go to college aren't going to finish college. They're going to finish with they won't finish with a diploma, and they'll finish with a big debt, and maybe trouble getting a job. So the idea was to focus on careers that in schools like this school that don't necessarily, the students don't get a lot of exposure to career and tech opportunities, and also to talk about what the Career and Tech Center has to offer in the county to the students, and a combination of the two. And that was their vision. So they didn't want a typical makerspace trailer, they wanted one for kids. So none of this existed, none of the ideas existed. So we started with, they wanted to highlight the first 5, which we have is automotive, welding, robotics and advanced manufacturing, agriculture and landscaping, and energy and electricity are the first 5. We have plans to do the other ones, culinary, cosmetology, some of those carts in the future. So that was their vision. So we started, and we built these all ourselves. We built them in our makerspace in downtown. If you want to get up and walk around, or you can sit here, I was going to quickly demonstrate every cart for you. If you want to come and walk around and see them, or you don't want to sit in there, it's your call. But let's have a better experience if you come up and see them. You can see that these carts, a lot of these parts, everything plastic on these carts was printed by our 3D printers. We manufacture our own 3D printers. We have them in a lot of Columbiana schools. You've seen our printers probably before. And so you can see this cart was made with a laser cutter and cutting out this part. So what the kids do on this one, we want them to learn life skill, how to safely change a tire. And so they started, it has all the things that a real tire has. They have to put the chocks under the tire. They have to put the parking brake on. They have to jack this up like we jack it up, and it's a regular car jack. We jack up the truck. They then take the thing off, replace the spare tire, and put it back on, and go through all the safety aspects of how to change it. So even a lot of adults don't know how to change a tire. And sooner or later, you might have a requirement today where you can't get AAA, or you just don't have your cell phone or something else, where you're going to have to change your own. I've had this experience. You got to change your own tire. And I don't know how much time we have, but I just got to tell this interesting story about changing. I had a very good friend. We had Staples Center. We had a big suite, and we could see. And he called me and said he wanted to go. He was from Utah. Wanted to go to the Eagles concert. So he came down to the Eagles concert. Make a long story short, we're walking out of the parking garage, and the guy had a flat tire in the parking garage. He said, "Jack, I got to stop and change this. I'm a Mormon. I got to stop and change this tire." I said, "We're gonna get caught in this traffic. Let's just go, Chris. I got to stop." So we stopped and we changed his tire for him. And I didn't like it, but I did it. We got caught in the traffic. About 3 weeks later, I had to give a talk to the Hispanic Engineering Society in LA. Had a tux on. I come out, and guess what? My tire's flat. And I have a tux on. Well, this car drove up and said, "I need to help you change your tire." I said, "I'll just call AAA." He said, "No, I'm a Mormon. I have to help you change your tire." That's a true story, huh? So the other thing is, once they do that, they lift up their hood. And this is the same thing every car has under your dash. You have this. And when you pull into a garage and they hook it up to a computer, this is what they hook up to with a $79 attachment. And you can do this to yourself for yourself. When your check engine light comes on, you can plug this in, it gives you a code. You tell what car you have, and it'll tell you what's wrong with your engine. and before you even take it in. Instead of paying somebody $100 and some bucks to tell you what's wrong with it, you can know before you go in and decide whether you want to do it yourself. In this case, the failure we've created, and we create different failures. This is an emulator. We can create different failures. The first failure we created was just the air filter's plug, which most people should be able to change themselves. And then they go in, this has a video game on it, they can actually go in and change the air filter in the thing. And it also connects to virtual reality headsets, and they can do it in a virtual reality world. They can go in and work in a garage and change the headsets. So that's what this card does. This card here is a welding simulator. Craig, you want to show them how it works?
So joy of welding, a whole bunch of welding jobs in this region, a whole bunch of people that can get good paying jobs. All they have to do is explore into welding. So part of it is they have a simulator they can use, which is nicely put on this handheld attachment. If you want to see what's going on and help guide a person and teach them how to weld, once they're more experienced, they go ahead and put on this helmet and then go ahead and weld as well. And it uses augmented reality. It's able to go ahead and just look at this plate.
You
And
Comcast
go ahead and
the
line
TV,
up
do you have
and
a-
then
do you have a
go in.
Comcast set up, or you don't have it set up?
Just give me a moment then.
Then you can watch what's going on, and other people can watch what's happening. But it's not really virtual reality, it's mixed, because part of it's real and part of it's virtual. So you're not really in a virtual world. And it can Comcast up. It was too hard, we just watched you look in this thing, but I wanted to see you to see if we do this.
Yeah, it would take some time to do that.
It will? No,
Yeah.
move on. Anyway, if you want to see the screen, anyway, the same thing he's seeing here will show up on the TV. And it does give you a score later, so kids can see. But the idea of this one is, look at do you have a propensity for welding, which takes certain skills, and if you do you like it or not like it? And it, there you go.
So we had a little bit of cooking show magic, right? You got to see what's behind the curtain. Since it's augmented reality, you could see that this is here. It could go ahead and put in a little bit of metal plate for me. And it will start giving me guides that tell me how I can start welding. A little bit harder than you think, because if it's red, it's not happy. And you need to go ahead and make sure the speed's just right. Let me start that.
When you're done, it'll give you a score. The kids can compete against their friends, it's gonna have fun times. He got an 87, which is not too bad a score. I could do better. But it also has multiple, you can use this one, and you put this in and it can weld this weld, or it can weld a flat weld like this too. So 3 different welds it can do. And the kids can get a score, and you see it scores you on a bunch of different factors as well.
So how long would a student stay on that? Would we be on this for hours, a week?
Hours would be quite a long time. They really want to get a high score then.
No, I mean, is he gonna go through this one time, a student?
This is an idea of exposing students to different careers. So
Okay,
the idea isn't to have them sit on this for
Right,
hours
they're
and
just
get a
gonna,
high
so
score.
they're buzzing right through these.
Well, the idea is to replace their closed mind with an open one.
Okay.
So they got to see what this is like. Now they can go to a teacher that's able to teach in the welding program at the Career and Tech Center and say, hey, I'm interested in that. Maybe I can come down by your school and see what that's like with something that's a more realistic example.
And the other thing, these cards, the stools are held up magnetically underneath. It can be wheeled into a classroom, and the only thing you have to do is plug it in. So a teacher that want to do, they all have extended, besides a short exposure, we're just showing that students come in and do something quickly. So maybe 5 or 10, 15 minutes on a cart and move to another cart. But we do have programs for them to use it for a longer period of time if they wanted to move it into the classroom and put a lesson around it.
And it
So
does
we
need to
do.
be mentioned, our 7th through 12th grade, we're scheduling them in here, so they're alternating their time, classes, content areas, will be coming out and coming through here. So we started that, today's Wednesday, we started that yesterday, if I'm not mistaken.
So 7 through 12's doing that here.
And if they have more time, this is backed up by some videos we have a partner with us called Edge Factor, who makes career videos, and there's 3 or 4 videos you can watch, like women in welding and stuff like that, short 4 or 5 3-minute videos that they can watch about careers that are available in welding, and what they would have to, and what their interest would be, and maybe what the salaries are and things like that. So those are in the back there near too. And eventually, Career and Tech Center is gonna add some videos about what they offer in their programming, welding program into this. But the thing is very flexible, because they all have computers, everybody's, and you will be able to put anything in when we want to. And so, quickly on this one, Craig, can you? This is a robotics one, we'll show you quickly what it does.
So welcome to the field of robotics now. Robotics is a nice little exciting field. There's definitely robots around the area. You might know of one at YSU. They have one as well. Different universities use robots for various things in regards to their laboratory and scientific equipment. Same idea here. You have a whole bunch of slides telling you how you can start programming this robotic arm. You do have a version where you can start showing the arm where you want it to go, and it will start doing what you tell it to do. You can go clear to more advanced and sophisticated programming languages. Maybe the simpler ones, they're more like the visual block-based coding, which you've seen in local schools and most likely is in your school district as well. Or you can start typing in physical words too. Oh, you saw that's exciting. It's even more exciting when it does something, right? Yeah. It does things. All based off the programming you gave it, programming that anybody can give it once you learn how it will work.
And the project challenge on this one is the students will first put the blocks up on the conveyor. It'll sort them, it tells what color it is and puts it where the color belongs. But then it'll also say, well, guess what? You did it by hand. Next back of boxes coming in are too heavy. They need to be loaded by your job is a programmer to pick these up and put it on the conveyor, and they'll do the program in a teach mode. They won't have to code it, but they can code it. And this is what block visual coding is. In block visual coding, you don't have to actually write the code. You just say, go to this spot, just like English language. That turns it into a code that the computer understands. So when it picks it off the conveyor, it puts it here, it tells what color it is, and it's to put them in those colors and stack them. So that's this one. This one here is one that talks about GPS and how farmers today use GPS because they all do it today, and they, autonomous vehicles and everything else. This is in the agriculture area around Columbiana County. You know how much agriculture there is. We show them how basically GPS works. Every one of these slides also has slides that talk about the technology behind the concepts. Like how does your car know what's wrong with it? What kind of weldings are there? There's TIG, MIG, and what's the difference of what welding is this? This one is what are robotics and how does robotics work and how does a robot know where to go? This one has how does GPS work? How does GPS get a signal? And GPS gets what? 3 signals. It gets X, Y, and Z. And so this is an X, Y, Z. Like any GPS, you've got to start with 0, 0, 0. So what you do with this is 0, 0, 0 on this one. It's this location right here. So when you get it there, you just take in, this is an X, Y, Z locator. And what's happened here? This one's been acting up. I don't know why he's doing that. There's a short somewhere or something, but we can move the other one here. There it comes. There you go. Patience. There it goes. So when we take it back here, you can zero it out. And now it's 0, 0, 0. So all GPS starts from 0, 0 reference point. Same with robot. It has to have some 0. It has to know what 0 is. And then it knows where to go from 0 using code. Well, this case here, they learn how, this is a mock-up of the concept is you were given a piece of land and you want, by the county, you want to turn it into a community garden. So what do you have to do to enrich the soil to this to make it acceptable for community garden? So they will take and they want to know where each sample is taken. So you'll move it to a sample. In this case, we'll sample this one right here, which was soil that came from a pasture. And you'll put it here, and you can see these are scales. Each one of these inches equals 30 yards. And so the idea is you can see where the sample was taken in your thing. And then you can put the, this is an analyzer here. And it analyzes for a bunch of things, but we focus on the key ones, which are what? Nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, and pH. And so they can put a sample down. They take the sample probe and put it down. And we tell them take the sample probe down to 3.5. It gets consistency in the samples. And then you can see here when we do this, it tells you that the nitrogen's 44, you'd like nitrogen to be 50. These are milligrams per kilogram, which is the same as parts per million. It tells you that the potassium is, which is a K, which is 125, and the phosphorus is 62. What you'd like these to be is 50, 188, and 75. And so how much do you have to add each of these chemicals per kilogram of earth, or parts per million, to adjust it? And then you can take it a lot further. You can go ahead and actually develop a community garden. You can do a cost estimate of what it would cost to do this, to add the soil to it. But that's the idea, let the kids understand what that's about. And you know in GPS, what's your X, Y, and Z? X is what? X is longitude, Y is latitude, and Z is what? Elevation. So it's the same thing, the kids learn that. That's what this one is. And this one here is energy, and you can see here, the kids learn how to use a multimeter, they learn what a circuit is, they learn what current voltage, they learn how solar cells work, and just quickly, then they can actually go ahead and see, for instance, and then they see how it translates into work and how it can actually pump water. So in this case here, we'll turn this one on, you can see it start to pump the water. And they get to see as they change it, they'll also learn how to take the voltage of it as it goes up and down. Now one of the interesting things you see, until you get close, it doesn't make much difference to how much you move it, because a solar cell is, because energy goes out in the sphere, if I'm twice as far away, I only get 1/4 the power, which is interesting, because if we go to Mars, I'm only getting 25% of the power out of the solar cell. So what can I do? One thing I can do is I can add a concentrator. So if the kids take a look at adding a concentrator, they can add this concentrator here. Now watch what happens to the water rate when I just concentrate the power. And they can play with these and see how you can optimize it. And they learn that, you know, the light has to rebounds equal to incident, and they can play with it and see how it is. Then they can say, okay, what if, next thing is to do, how can we connect them? What if we connect two of them together? Well, if you connect two things like two batteries, you double the voltage if you put them plus to minus. If you put them in parallel, you get twice the power, twice the current. So you can see what happens if I turn the second one on. And the kids can play with it. The idea is for them to find out how they can maximize it. And if I go ahead and put the concentrator on this, I got the ultimate power. So the idea is once they learn about how to different ideas, the idea is how fast can I get to pump the water down. The idea being that how do you store energy? What's the downside of solar cells? They only work a day, right? So the concept is at night we pump water up to a reservoir, and in the day we pump up the water. At night while we bring it back down, we put a little hydraulic generator in here, we get power. So that's the idea, like on a place like where we don't have, because otherwise we store our power in what? Batteries. So what's the downside of taking a battery to Mars? It's really heavy. And so we gotta have other ways to store energy. And storing energy is a big disadvantage with solar cells. How do I store energy? So this concept is showing on Mars we can store energy by changing kinetic to potential energy and changing it back to kinetic. So that's the idea on these carts.
Fabulous.
Yeah.
Really is.
Thanks for bringing that to us.
It's a lot.
There's a lot there,
A
huh?
lot to take in.
Yeah.
How long does it take you to disassemble, put away, assemble? I mean, when this is ready to put back into your,
Not that long, because these go up, like I said, they're held up by magnets underneath.
and it's just like that.
Yeah, and just plug it in and roll it on.
Oh my God.
Roll it up the ramp and put them on the trailer.
Amazing.
And then strap them down and take them to the next site.
Cars all the time.
So the idea is then for them to go to basically all the schools in Columbiana County next year. So what we want to do this year, you're our first school and never been used by students. It's one thing to design them, but something else is turn them over to students.
Right.
And we're learning a lot. Even some, I just won't spend a lot of time, but even some basic things like a lot of kids today don't know how to use a mouse. They don't even know what a mouse is,
Screen.
believe it or not. Because they use Chromebooks, they don't have them, the mouse only has one thing, you click it. Or else they use their cell phone that doesn't have a mouse, or they have a touchscreen that doesn't have a mouse. So we didn't realize that, so kids come in, we tell them, use a mouse, what's a mouse, you know? So, so they gotta start with, learning, they'll learn a lot of things. And the other thing we find out is kids today, adults today, nobody wants to follow directions. They just wanna go in and do it. And learning how to follow directions is key, right? So that's some of the things we're learning as we're piloting these, is how to get kids more engaged and get them to actually wanna follow directions. So anyway, thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you both for
Yes.
your willingness to stay after and show our board and everyone else career exploration. Thanks again.
We're really happy for the opportunity, and we're really thankful that you got great kids here and great faculty and people helping us get the data we need to make sure next year we're gonna go from here to Beaver Local, and those are our two pilot schools, and next year we wanna get it out to, and typically to be in school for a couple weeks, and move
Great.
to another school. She'll get them again
Fascinating.
next year,
Mhm.
once we're a little bit smarter and know how to be more effective in implementing them.
Thank you again.
Thank you.
Mr. Henderson, am I good to start on superintendent's
Absolutely.
report? Manager? Before you, you may notice a treat for this came from food service Kelsey Keller. This is the yogurt parfait with blueberries that this must be the favorite of all of our students here at the K-12. I have a few things under good news and additional information. First is just more informational than anything. Our prom is just around the corner of 2024 junior senior prom. It's May 3rd, a week from this Friday at 7 o'clock. It's at Mr. Anthony's Banquet Hall. Promenade is here in the big gym. That starts at 5 o'clock again next Friday. Leetonia Schools Family Fun Festival. You may recall me providing flyers, and it's on the website and Facebook page. That's this Friday at Hendricks Family Stadium. Starts at 5 o'clock and runs until 7:30. Of course, we have a lot of food and drinks and vendors and nonprofit community-based agencies that will be on the perimeter of the field defense. And again, the career exploration trailer you see outside, what Jack just went over, will be down at the field as well with, I think, maybe just five of the carts. But Family Fun Festival is the 4th annual. It's gotten bigger each year. The weather looks pretty good. I think it's in the low 70s and no rain, so that's good news. Probably the biggest culminating event that we all look forward to is class of 2024 graduation. That's Friday, May 24th, so 1 month from today, the date that is, May 24th, 6 o'clock in the gym. That's a Friday evening. Spring Sports 2024, baseball, softball, track, junior high track, all underway. As you came in tonight, there's baseball and softball going on. I don't believe we're rained out unless it started raining here. Teams are competing. Individually, some great things. Team-wise, some great things. Coaches are doing a nice job. We just keep pushing and seeing improvement in all of the spring sports. So congrats to the kids and coaches and parents that are out supporting our teams. Other culminating events, May 6th, that's the week of May 6th, I should say, is Teacher Appreciation Week. Last year, the board was kind enough we delivered cake and ice cream to our teachers and maybe doing something along those lines to recognize our teachers and also our staff here. May 10th is the Special Women in Your Life brunch. This is a senior class brunch for mostly our young ladies and guardians, parents, mothers come to this. That's on the 10th. May 8th is a Wednesday. It's a scholarship banquet. That's an a la carte catering. May 18th, there's our band banquet. May 21st is CCCTC graduation. May 24th, I mentioned about graduation at night at 6 p.m., but it's also class day at 9:30 where seniors are recognized for all of their accomplishments throughout their 13 years of formal education. Momentum Award. I sent this out in my weekly update. The Ohio Department of Education and Workforce Development hereby awards the Momentum Award 2023 to Leetonia Exempted Village Schools, and this is in recognition of significant improvement in growth and achievement on the Ohio School Report Card for 22-23 school year. So I don't know if you can see that right or not. Got a letter from Director Steve Dakin at the Ohio Department of Education and Workforce. I'm delighted to extend my heartfelt congratulations to the Leetonia Exempted Village Schools for achieving the Momentum Award. As I mentioned, this is for results on 22-23 report card. For an LEA who has improved their performance index by 3 or more points from the 21-22 report card to the 22-23 report card, and received a value added rating of 4 or more stars. Most importantly, this remarkable accomplishment reflects your unwavering commitment to excellence and the outstanding services you provide to your students and community. It also recognizes the devoted teachers and staff who consistently go above and beyond ensuring that all students receive exceptional learning and instruction. So congrats to our K-12 staff Momentum Award for 23 calendar year. Band and choir recognition, I mentioned this on my Friday video update. We had Emma Cartwright. She was selected to participate in the Ohio Northern Honors Band on May 5th. She'll be performing in a concert with students across the state, directed by Ohio Northern's band director as well. And we had some number of Columbia County Honors Band and choir students last month. In the band, we had Emma Cartwright, Alexa Solomon Hanson, Zachary Davenport, Jackson Himes, Ella Harris, Elijah Prince. And choir participants we had Jack Snyder, Taylor Zeppernick, and Casey Williams. Last week we had our National Technical Honor Society recognition, or NTHS. We had Athena Halverstadt and Natalie Entricken representing Leetonia schools in the National Technical Honor Society. So a lot going on. Just wanted to give you a little heads up with where we're going in the month of May, as we're just around the corner. But again, of course, graduation on the 24th. We have a board meeting, I believe it's the 22nd, just several days, so I'll remind everyone. But things are in full swing. Things are going very well. Testing is still occurring, and our students are taking it very seriously, as our staff has, and certainly that is an indicator of where we're going to be in the future. So a lot happening. Any questions I can answer with just some of the information and good news I shared with you? Mr. Henderson, good to go?
Good to go.
Okay. Some new business and personnel. I had 7A through 7D on this. These are one-year limited certificated teacher contracts, 2-year limited certificated teacher contracts, some limited classified contracts, and a continuing certificated teaching contract. April is the month of year where contracts are traditionally recommended to the board for approval. As you know, some teachers are in continuing contracts, some are granted a 1-year, some are granted a 2-year, and that's in both with certificated and classified. So the first is recommended the following employment under a 1-year limited certificated teaching contract for the 24-25 school year: Tyler Cintron, Brendan Frenger, Kayla Klasick, Madeline Matika, Mary Rice, .75 FTE, Samantha Saccone. Also 7B, 2-year limited certificated teaching contract, recommended the following employment under a 2-year limited teaching contract with the 24-25 school year: Carrie Ackler, Caitlin Culp, Jennifer Hartman, Brad Katzman, Carrie Roller, Melanie Stouts, and Lauren Woolley. C is a 2-year limited classified contract. Recommend the following employment under a 2-year limited classified contract starting with the 24-25 school year: Kimberly Carter Stefanik, Terry Rockwell, and Sean Gaffney. And in D, continuing certificated teacher contract. This would recommend the following employment under a continuing certificated teaching contract for 24-25 school year, and that's to Lori Crisson.
Motion.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
What does the FTE
Full-time equivalency.
equivalency? Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Roll call.
Mrs. Adelson?
Yes.
Mrs. Votak?
Yes.
Mr. Duca?
Yes.
Mr. Henderson?
Yes.
8A, supplemental contract, 8A and B. Supplemental contract, approve the following supplemental applications pending all backgrounds and certifications. Derek Bell, assistant baseball coach, and he would be the JV coach at step 0, now that we have a JV team. And I should say 9B, substitutes, approve the following subs for 23-24 school year pending all backgrounds and certifications. Nicole Henry, certificated and classified sub. And those are supplemental and substitute recommendations.
Motion.
Second.
Discussion.
So for baseball, Dennis, do we have 3 coaches now?
We have 3.
Okay.
We have 3, yes. 2 splitting the contract for head and assistant, and then 1 assistant for JV, which would be Derek.
Roll call.
Mr. Duca?
Yes.
Mrs. Murtaugh?
Yes.
Mrs. Howison?
Yes.
Mr. Henderson?
Yes. Alright, now I'd like to adjourn to executive session pursuant to Ohio Revised Code Section 121.22G1. I hereby move that the board adjourn to executive session for the purpose of considering the discipline, employment, dismissal, promotion, or compensation of a public employee.
Motion?
Second.
Roll call.
Mrs. Murtaugh?
Yes.
Mrs. Howison?
Yes.
Mr. Duca?
Yes.
Mr. Henderson?
Yes.
buzzing over here. So
Yeah,
like,
that's
okay,
right.
let's
Stuck
go
mine
outside.
back there too.
Alright, motion to return to open session.
Motion?
Second.
Alright, any final comments?
No, sir.
Alright, let's get a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Second. Oh,
All in
we didn't do.
favor?
Aye.
You do the
Aye.
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 Double aye.
The ayes have it.